ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सागणरघुनाथान्वितं सतं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्ति वेदांता स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारणे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य ईश्वरं गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for joining. I hope you're having a nice weekend. We'll continue our study of Sri Isopanishad. So we have to do mantra 7 today. Let's review mantra 6 very quickly because mantra 6 and 7 they are in continuation. So mantra 6 we read. I think some of you were not there. Mantra 6 was this one. यस्तु सर्वाणि भूतानि आत्मनि एवानुपश्यति सर्वभूतेषु चात्मानं ततो न विजुगुप्सते. So this verse says that this verse and the one that we are going to read today, both of them are giving us the symptoms, the qualities, the vision of a pure devotee, of a Uttam Bhagwat devotee, of a Mahabhagwat devotee. Okay, the best type of devotees there are. What is their vision? How do they see the world? What are their characteristics and qualities? So if you see, this sixth verse is saying, Yastu Sarvani Bhutani, that he who systematically sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord. Yeah, Atmani means, Atmani was one of the important words. Atmani means in relation to the Lord. And this word, if you see, is repeated in Bhagavatam many times because Bhagavatam describes the qualities of a pure devotee of Lord many times. And so Atmani means a pure devotee is the one who sees everything in relation to the Lord. Evanupashyati, who systematically sees. So he has this vision, this training to see anything and everything in relation to Supreme Lord. Sarva Bhuteshu Chatmanam, and he sees Supreme Lord within everything, all living beings. Sarva Bhuteshu. Tato na vijugupsate. So he does not hate any being or anything because he has this vision of seeing everything in relation to Supreme, every Supreme Lord within everyone is part and parcel of the Lord, everyone can be used in the service of Lord. So that person cannot hate or have dvesh or envy against any living being, sarva bhutesh, or even anything, any object either. And I was telling that when we discuss these two verses, think of any Mahabhagavad devotee that you know. And I'm always mostly thinking of Prabhupada because that's the Prabhupada is one we have the most deepest relationship with because we all read his books and read his purports, and we'll read his purport today for verse 7. So the main word here that we took was anupashyati, to systematically see, which means If we also want to elevate ourselves from the level of a neophyte devotee to Madhyamadhikari or intermediate devotee, and the next level is Uttamadhikari or the Mahabhagavat, pure devotee, Bhagavatottama, then we should also develop this vision. We should also get training in this vision. And the training comes from three things: from Vedic wisdom, okay, so reading scriptures, which is Shastra, from disciplic succession, which is our gurus, our acharyas. So from disciplic succession, so serve and take instructions from the senior devotees or from the guru, okay, whoever represents the disciplic succession. So important that we also become a representative of disciplic succession to elevate ourselves to the next level, Madhyamadhikari, okay, which means you have also taken shelter of the disciplic succession. So take training from the disciplic succession, from Vedic wisdom, and then from the Lord himself, okay. So that is the training, hearing from a superior source. Getting trained from a superior source. This is, then you will develop this transcendental vision. This is systematic training, systematic vision, anupashyati. Atmani is in relation to supreme. These two words were in verse 6. Verse 7 that we are doing today will have these two words, ekatvam and anupashyati again. If you look at the verse 7, ekatvam anupashyata. We'll read and recite this verse in a few minutes. I'm just revising the last verse. Then we had covered three types of devotees: the neophytes, which is Kanishtadhikari, the intermediate devotees, which is Madhyamadhikari, and the pure devotees, which is Uttamadhikari. And we were reading the Mahaprabhu's discussion with Sanatan Goswami about these three categories of devotees. So you see, from Mahaprabhu says, this is according to the Shraddha Anusari, according to the development of their faith, according to then he says later on, according to their love and attachment to the devotees, to the gurus, to the Lord, to the scriptures, to the degree that they have this love and attachment, the faith, to that degree, they will become pure and advance to the next level. But Shraddhavan Janhaya Bhakti Adhikari Uttam Madhyama Kanishta Shraddha Anusari. So Prabhupada has described these three types of devotees in detail in the purport, because this verse is talking only about Uttam Bhagavat. But we are not at the level of Uttam Bhagavatas. So we have to identify our level. And again, we discussed that this classification is not to label other people. This is not to classify other people. This is for your own classification. Where do I stand? All the Vedic knowledge, this is the rule. You have to understand this rule and really, really remember and imbibe this. The Vedic knowledge, the rules of Vedas, the regulations, the principles should first be applied on yourself. You cannot force other people to apply on them. You cannot apply these rules on others unless you are following them religiously yourself. You can guide other people, but you cannot force them to apply. And so these type of whenever we read the scriptures, the lens of scriptures is used to evaluate yourself, not the others. So you should see, where do I stand? I stand at the level of Komal Shraddha, neophyte devotee. One whose faith is not very strong, who is just beginning, should be considered a neophyte devotee. Yo bhavet Komal Shraddha sa kanishto nigadyate, like that. Okay. Then we also discussed the next level devotee. So this is neophyte or Prakrita Bhakti, a materialistic devotee. Okay. He has some faith in the Lord, but he will not have faith in the devotees, in the disciplic succession. In the, he will worship the deity, but he may not sit in the classes. He may not. He may have many material attachments. He may not be very pure. He may be engaging a lot in this material world as well. So he does not care for the association of the devotees. He likes to be independent. To the degree we have independence in us, again, we are very low level. Then the next level is second class devotee, intermediate devotee, who is more advanced in their knowledge of scriptures, but not completely expert. So not very expert, but has firm faith. His faith is better, his knowledge is better, his love and attachment is more. These are the devotees that will typically be preaching. Okay. Because Uttama neophytes are not able to preach, Uttam Adhikaris do not feel themselves qualified to preach. So it's the Madhyam Adhikaris that are, look at this, Madhyam Adhikaris have the vision which people to preach, which people to stay away from, whom to give your hearts to, whom to become friends with. So Prabhupada said in the purport of this verse, mantra 6, Madhyam Adhikari. So again, since we are trying to rise to the next level, Madhyam Adhikari will be friendly to the devotees, okay, friendly to the devotees, merciful to the neophytes and the ignorant people. So he will give mercy to the neophytes. Neophytes meaning the simple people, the ignorant people who are amenable to this knowledge. And he will neglect the envious people. He will neglect the atheists. He will disregard, he will avoid, he will not stay too much in company or try to engage the atheistic people or the people who are complicated, who are not simple minded, who are not very innocent, who are not very easygoing, because these people are difficult to bring to devotional service. So he will just give them prasad, but stay away from their company, not engage in their company too much. But he gives his heart to Guru and Bhagwan. So love is for Guru and Bhagwan. Friendship is for all devotees, either at his level or advanced than him. Mercy or daya to the ones that are below him. To those he will preach, he will show favor, he will give them services. Those are simple, innocent people. And he will avoid the envious people. So he behaves differently towards these four classes. This is the vision of a Madhyam Adhikari. Okay. But he is convinced. The neophyte was not convinced. His faith keeps going back and forth. Madhyam Adhikari is firmly situated and he's convinced. So you see this Madhyam Adhikari, somehow or the other, he'll bring people that are interested, innocent and non-blasphemous people. You see on the slide, he will try to bring those people towards Lord as much as he can. So this is he distinguishes four categories. Supreme Lord, he will love. Same thing with Guru, love and adore. Devotees, make friends. Innocent people, try to awaken their dormant love by preaching, by giving them favor and services. Atheists or any blasphemous people or complicated, complex people, just avoid. So, and then we come to the Uttam Adhikari, because this verse is continuing on the theme of the Uttam Adhikari. I want you to see this very carefully. The main thing about Uttam Adhikari, this verse keeps talking about, is that they see oneness in quality with the Lord, ekatvam. Atmani, how this person, how this thing, this object can be used in service of the Lord. Just like Prabhupada, everything can be used in service of the Lord. Everyone can be used in service of the Lord. Everyone has a relationship with Krishna. They just don't remember. They have forgotten it. This is the vision of a pure bhakta, of a Uttam Bhagavad devotee. Okay. So he is expert in scriptures. Nobody can defeat him in different logics, arguments. Very, very firm faith and love and attachment to Krishna. So he's the topmost devotee. He can deliver the whole world. Okay. This is the topmost devotee. His vision is he always sees Krishna. You see the Krishna in the eye. He sees Krishna everywhere and Krishna within everyone, everything, and everyone in relation to Krishna. Atmani and Ekatvam. So Atmani means everyone has a relationship with Krishna. Everyone can be used in service of Krishna. He sees everyone in relation to Krishna, and Ekatvam means that Krishna is within everyone and everyone is part and parcel of Krishna. So Atmani and Ekatvam, two words I want you to remember. Anupashyati, this is his vision. And he has developed this vision with training, with submissive service, with hearing, with the 9 processes of devotional service, by getting, but not by his own effort, but by getting mercy of the Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. Okay. This is again, it is a most expansive vision. Most expansive meaning most extensive vision, most comprehensive vision. Okay. So again, this is the table. Uttam, Madhyam, Kanishta. Uttam is, okay, Kanishta, let's start from Kanishta. Neophyte devotee is weak, easily swayed. He cannot offer strong arguments or to opposing opinions. Madhyam is convinced in his faith. He is good. He may not always be able to defeat the opposing opinion. Uttam Adhikari is strong and convinced, strong in faith and convinced both. And he's strong in his knowledge also. He can convince the opposing opinion. Okay, these verses I'll take in a few minutes. Okay, now let's go to our purport of Sri Isopanishad. Any questions so far in this classification of 3 types of devotees? And this is important for us because this is mentioned many times by Prabhupada in various purports of Srimad Bhagavatam in many places. And we should know how to deal, because we're trying to get to the Madhyamadhikari level. We should know how to deal with different types of people. Okay, then let's read this. So we'll read this purport. Please unmute and read one paragraph after another. Let's recite this verse. We'll lead and follow. Yasmin sarvani bhutani.
Yasmin sarvani bhutani
Atme va budvijanata. Atme va
vijanata
Tatra ko moha ka shoka. Tatra ko
ko moha kaushaka
ekatvam anupashyata.
ekatvam anupashyata.
So we have briefly discussed this verse. Ekatvam means oneness in quality. Anupashyata means systematically see. Whoever sees this, whoever sees all living entities in this way. Tatra ko moha ka shoka. That person has no anxiety and no lamentation or illusion. Okay, no moha, no illusion, and no shoka or anxiety. And look at this. I really like this word for word that Prabhupada has given. Atma, he's calling Chitkana. Chitkana. You know, we are the spark. We are a kan of the whole spiritual fire. That Krishna is a fire, and we are the spark of that fire. So we are just the spark. We are just a part and parcel of the supreme whole, of the complete whole. Krishna is the complete whole, and we are a small part or a small spark. We are a chit kan. He is Vibhu, and we are very small. We are Anu. So chit kan. We are very small kan part or a particle. We are particle of the whole. Okay, let's read this. Anyone wants to read the translation? And whoever reads, please read the first paragraph also.
Okay, Mataji.
Oh, go ahead,
Yes.
Prabhuji.
One who always sees all living entities as spiritual sparks in quality, one with the Lord, becomes the true knower of things. What then can be illusion or anxiety for him? Purport. Except for Madhyamadhikari and Uttama-adhikari discussed above, no one can correctly see the spiritual position of a living being. The living entities are qualitatively one with the Supreme Lord, just as the sparks of a fire are qualitatively one with the fire. Yet sparks are not fire as far as quantity is concerned, for the quantity of heat and light present in sparks is not equal to that in fire. The Mahabhagavata, the great devotees, see oneness in sense that he sees everything as the energy of the Supreme Lord. Since there is no difference between the energy and the energetic, there is sense of oneness. Although from the analytical point of view, heat and light are different from fire, there is no meaning of the word fire without heat and light. In synthesis, therefore, heat, light, and fire are the same.
Very good. Thank you, Prabhuji, for reading. So Prabhupada has explained the meaning of the word ekatvam, basically, that sparks of fire versus fire. This analogy we take many times. So spark of fire has the same quality with the fire. So that's why we have the same quality, spiritual quality, as the supreme whole, Krishna. So in quality we are same, but in quantity we are very minute. This we know. This point we have understood, right? This is called achintya bheda bhed tattva, that we have this difference of being very small in quantity, but sameness, ekatvam, of being qualitatively same. Then Prabhupada has given another analogy that we are the energies of the Lord. You all know that, right? We are marginal potency of the Lord. We are the tatastha shakti or marginal potency of the Lord. And now coming to the analogy of fire. Fire, what type of energy you see coming from fire? You see heat coming from it and light coming from it. Those two are emanating from the fire. So heat and light are also different from fire. If you think about it, they're same, they're originating from the fire, but they're also in a way different from the fire. They have their own place, they have their own function, they have their own unique identity. Heat and light are energies, right? Similarly, we are also energies of the Lord, but we have our own unique identity as well, which means we are not just going to merge into the Lord and highlight our existence. We have an individual identity and we serve the purpose of the Lord because we are emanating from the Lord. So, because the heat and light is coming from fire, heat and light should know that it cannot exist without fire. And so it should serve the purpose of the fire. And fire um, burns, gives light because of these energies. So we are also instruments in service of the Lord. We are also energies of the Lord, and thereby we serve a purpose, a function. We have an individual, unique purpose, each of us, individual, unique identity, and we are servants of the Lord. We just don't know our identity. We have forgotten our spiritual identity. Like right now, I'm thinking I'm a female. I've forgotten. Maybe I'm a friend of Krishna in the spiritual world. I've forgotten that identity because of revolving, circulating in this material world for a long time. Now I don't remember what was my service to Krishna in the spiritual world. Was I maybe some tree in the spiritual world? Maybe I was a bird there. Maybe I was a friend there. Maybe I was helping one of the manjaris in some seva. I don't remember anymore. I've forgotten that seva. I've forgotten my identity, my service. So in this way, we are also forgotten our identity, but we are energies of the Lord. We are servants of the Lord. We are same in quality, but also at the same time different in quantity and have unique individual sparks, individual identities. So this is the word ekatvam. Ekatvam doesn't mean that we become same as the Lord. Ekatvam means that we are same in quality. We have the same, we have this, we have to serve the purpose of the Lord. Like in a country, for example, we have this ekatvam, this unity, right? This unity of purpose, this unity of goal. We say हम एक हैं, हाँ पूरा भारतवर्ष एक है, हम एक होकर ये fight करेंगे या ये कुछ काम करेंगे. Ek does not mean, ekatvam, ek does not mean that we will merge, all the people of the country will merge and become one block. No, ek means that each of us will serve in a unique way to fulfill the purpose of the country. Each of us will contribute to the purpose of the country, contribute to the service of the country. That is how we mean हम एक हैं. या हम परिवार में बोलते हैं. In family we say we are all one, we are all united, we are all same, which means we are working to serve each other. We are all helping each other, serving each other, somehow maintaining each other, whatever needs to be done. It doesn't mean that the child needs to start going to work, or the father who's working, they all will become one body and start doing the same thing. No, it means that everybody has a unique identity, unique purpose, but the purpose is catered towards fulfilling one goal. And that goal in the spiritual sense is to serve Krishna, is to keep his word, whatever he wants us to do. So that is what ekatvam means, a unity of purpose, a same source from which we are coming, same interest, same goals. We belong to the same spiritual family. Okay, let's read the next paragraph. Who wants to read? Prabhupada will further explain this word. Please keep reading.
Hare Krishna, I can read.
Yes.
In this mantra, the words ekatvam anupashyata indicate that one should see the unity of all living entities from the viewpoint of the revealed scriptures. The individual sparks of the Supreme Whole, the Lord, possess almost 80% of the known qualities of the whole, but they are not quantitatively equal to the Supreme Lord. These qualities are present in minute quantity, for the living entity is but a minute part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. To use another example, the quantity of salt present in a drop is never comparable to the quantity of salt present in the complete ocean, but the salt present in the drop is qualitatively equal in chemical composition to all the salt present in the ocean. If the individual living being were equal to the Supreme Lord both qualitatively and quantitatively, there would be no question of his being under the influence of the material energy. In the previous mantras, it has already been discussed that no living being, the powerful demigod, not even the powerful demigods, can surpass the Supreme Being in any respect. Therefore, ekatvam does not mean that a living being is equal in all respects to the Supreme Lord. It does, however, indicate that in a broader sense there is one interest, just as in a family the interest of all members is one, or in a nation the national interest is one, although there are many different individual citizens. Since the living entities are all members of the same Supreme Family, their interest and that of the Supreme Being are not different. Every living being is a son of the Supreme Being. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7.5, all living creatures throughout the universe, including birds, reptiles, ants, aquatics, trees, and so on, are emanations of the marginal potency of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, all of them belong to the family of the Supreme Being. There is no clash of interest.
Very bold. Thank you, Vedayi, for reading. So in this paragraph, Prabhupada has talked about the equality, the concept of equality. That ekatvam does not mean that we become equal to the Lord. Okay, first of all, we said that ekatvam does not mean that we are ekatvam means that we are energies of the Lord. We are emanating from the Lord, just like heat and light emanates from the fire. So that's one thing. Our source is same. Then second point, Prabhupada is now talking about the qualities. That we are very minute in qualities. Just like individual spark is different in quality, is very minute. Different in quantity. We're different in quantity. Just like individual spark is very minute in quantity compared to the fire. Similarly, drop of ocean is very small in quantity compared to the ocean. And that is the reason, because we are so small, our influence is very small. That is why we come under the control of Maya. If we were also as Anant, unlimited, like Krishna, then we would not have come on. If we were as powerful, then we would not have come under the control of the Maya. Second point, Prabhupada is saying, qualitatively, even though we say we are same, but the amount of qualities is less in us. So if he is supremely beautiful, we may have a little, we manifest a very tiny bit of that beauty. So he's saying, at the most, a living entity can have only 80% of the qualities. And you know who that living entity is who has 80% of the qualities of the Lord? That is Lord Brahma. He has, so sometimes we say Lord, has 64 main qualities. And Brahmaji has 50 main qualities. So even in qualities also, we are not, we cannot compare to the Lord. We are not completely complete in our qualities either. Okay, his qualities are unlimited. We have only a percentage of those qualities. Okay, so that is the point of equality. Prabhupada is saying ekatvam does not mean equality. So again, he has given the example of the nation and of the family. It doesn't mean everybody is equal. Some may be working more, some may be working less, but they are all coming from the same source. They have the same goal. They are united in their purpose to serve the same interest. So there is no clash because they know that they belong to the same families. So birds, reptiles, ants, aquatics, all the living entities, sarvabhut, all the living entities are should know that they are emanations of the marginal potency of the Supreme Lord. They are the Tatastha Shakti, marginal potency. And so there is no clash of interest. They're all serving the Lord. Okay, let's keep reading. We have 3-4 more paragraphs to go. Anybody wants to read the next one? Who wants to read?
I can read.
Yes.
The spiritual entities are meant for enjoyment as stated in the Vedanta Sutra 1.1.12 Anandamayobhyasat. By nature and constitution, every living being, including the Supreme Lord and each of his parts and parcels, is meant for eternal enjoyment. The living beings who are in encaged in the material tabernacle are constantly seeking enjoyment, but they are seeking it on the wrong platform. Apart from the material platform is the spiritual platform, where the Supreme Being enjoys himself with his innumerable associates. On that platform, there is no trace of material qualities, and therefore that platform is called Nirguna. On the Nirgun platform, there is never a clash over the object of enjoyment. Here, in the material world, there is always a clash between different individual beings because here, the proper center of enjoyment is missed. The real center of enjoyment is the Supreme Lord, who is the center of sublime and spiritual rasa dance. We are all meant to join him and enjoy life with one transcendental interest and without any clash. That is the highest platform of spiritual interest. And as soon as one realizes this perfect form of oneness, there can be no question of illusion or moha or lamentation or shoka. Hare Krishna.
You want to read next one also?
Yes. A godless civilization arises from illusion, and the result of such a civilization is lamentation. A godless civilization, such as that sponsored by the modern politicians, is always full of anxieties because it may be crushed at any moment. That is the law of nature. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 7.14, no one but those who surrender at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord can surpass the stringent laws of nature. Thus, if we wish to get rid of all sorts of illusion and anxiety and create unity out of all diverse interests, we must bring God into all our activities. Hare Krishna. So, here in these paragraphs, it's being described that the cause of material lamentation and shoka is that we don't realize that the prime goal or prime focus of enjoyment should be Krishna. So everyone is part and parcel of Krishna, and our nature is to serve Krishna. If we do not do that, then even though as soul our eternal is Anandamayo Bhyasat, which is to enjoy eternally, due to being conditioned by the material modes of nature, we are going to fall into this material world where there's lamentation and distress. Whereas our original constitutional position is to be always happy with Krishna, with Him being the center of all enjoyment. So, as long as we realize that He is the center of all enjoyment, then we can be in our constitutional position. And that is why everyone in this material world is looking for happiness, because that is our true constitutional position, is to be happy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Nirbhay Prabhu, for summarizing. Yeah, so just like he said, Anandamayo Bhyasat, that is our natural position to always be Anandamayi. But we are stuck in this material world. So we are looking for pleasure and happiness in the wrong place. It's like imagine a prisoner is in the jail. So, and he's looking for happiness in the jail. But first you have to get out of the jail, then you can find the real enjoyment. The enjoyment in the jail will be very restricted. There will be so many rules and regulations that are artificial for you that you have to follow. So you're a free bird, but you're stuck in this jail. So real enjoyment is not possible. So we are somehow or the other trying to enjoy this material world, but our plans fail. And we are not trying to get out of the jail where the real enjoyment is possible. But then Prabhupada is saying, in the real world, the spiritual world, this is a fake world, false place, false identity, false ego, false place. But if we go to the real place, the spiritual world, the spiritual platform where we came from, it is a nirgun platform where there is no material qualities, which is not controlled by the three modes of material nature. Nirgun. There is no guna applicable there. None of the three gunas are applicable. So then there is no clash of enjoyment because nobody has any personal agenda. Everybody is keeping Krishna in center and they're serving him. So proper center of enjoyment is there. This rasa dance mein Krishna is dancing with everyone. Krishna is completely fulfilling the needs of each and every gopi. He's dancing completely with everyone, and every gopi is thinking he's only dancing with me. Similarly, you are serving the Lord completely, and you're feeling the best enjoyment because Krishna is completely reciprocating with you. When you have his full reciprocation, you will have full enjoyment, full happiness, bliss. So that Anandamayo Bhyasat can only be fulfilled in the spiritual world. The real center of enjoyment is the Supreme Lord, which is missing in this world. So since he's not the center of our activities, that's why we have our personal agendas. Think about our household, right? Everybody, let's say today is Sunday. I want to, let's say, Nirbhay Prabhu wants to go to temple. I want to go to the park, and somebody else wants to go to somebody's house, and a fourth person wants to go to gym. So everybody has a different agenda. So nobody is, catering to a central point, a common goal, and they're just doing whatever they want. Each wants to do his own whimsical will. They want to just fulfill their own sensual or mental gratification. So they're all working for their own enjoyment. Nobody is working for the center of enjoyment. And that's why, so then there will be they'll be fighting, they will all be doing their own thing, then there will be anxiety, there will be lamentation, all this will happen. So this is what is going on in this world. Everybody is just trying to fulfill their own agendas without a center point, without a common fatherhood. Prabhupada said, without a common fatherhood, universal brotherhood is not possible. So if you want universal brotherhood or peace, he gave us a peace formula that if you understand that Krishna is the center, he is the Sarvalok Maheshwaram, he gave us that peace formula, 5.29. Then only we can have a universal brotherhood or peace everywhere. But our real place is not in this world. And that is why we have this clashes, this illusions, this moha, this shoka. Then in this next paragraph that Prabhu read, he's saying, Prabhupada is saying, this is a godless civilization because there is illusion. Nobody has any knowledge. Everybody's in bodily conception. Everybody's engaged in their own personal agendas because of lack of knowledge. So that leads to a godless civilization. And that godless civilization gives rise to fear and anxieties. That's the nature of this world. Padam padam yat vipadam natesham. There is danger. There is fire at every step. So in this world, there is fire because of the lack of knowledge and bodily conception. But if we bring God into all our activities, Prabhupada is saying, if we bring God into our activities, then we can get rid of the illusion, we can get rid of the material conception, and get rid of the fear and anxieties. Fear and anxieties is the nature of this world. But as soon as you make yourself and your surroundings spiritual, your consciousness spiritual, then there will be no more fear or anxiety. Okay, let's read last two paragraphs. Who wants to read?
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
The para-Brahman is as much a person as the individual entities. Neither the Lord nor the living entities are impersonal. Such transcendental personalities are full of transcendental bliss, knowledge, and life eternal. That is a real position of spiritual existence. And as soon as one is fully cognizant of this transcendental position, he at once surrenders onto the lotus feet of Supreme Being, Shri Krishna. But such a Mahatma or great soul is very rarely seen because such transcendental realization is achieved only after many, many births. Once it is attained, however, there is no longer any illusion or lamentation or the miseries of the material existence of or birth and death, which are all experienced in our present life. That is the information we get from this mantra of Shri Isopanishad. Hare Krishna.
Very bold. Thank you. So we finished this purport. And this last two paragraphs are saying, I think we did not read this paragraph. Okay, I can read this quickly. The results of our activities must be used to serve the interest of the Lord and not for any other purpose. Only by serving the Lord's interest can we perceive the Atma Bhuta interest mentioned here. Atma Bhuta interest mentioned in this mantra and the Brahma Bhuta interest mentioned in Bhagavad Gita are one and the same. The Supreme Atma or soul is the Lord himself, and the minute Atma is the living entity. The Supreme Atma or Paramatma alone maintains all the individual minute beings, for the Supreme Lord wants to derive pleasure out of their affection. The Father extends himself through his children and maintains them in order to derive pleasure. If the children obey the Father's will, family affairs will run smoothly, with one interest and a pleasing atmosphere. The same situation is transcendently arranged in the absolute family of the Par Brahman, the Supreme Spirit. So Prabhupada has compared the spiritual family to our small family, because we have understanding of how things run in a small family in our household. So he's saying now apply the same concept on the spiritual family, that Krishna is the Supreme Father and we are all his children. In our household, we understand that if a child follows the will of his father, then family affairs will run smoothly. Right? If the child says, oh, I will go do something else, I'm going to engage in some bad activities or get in bad company or bring weird people home, or some unwanted activities that the family does not support, will not help in the family's business or things like that, then there will be fighting, there will be quarrels, and child will suffer, because he may be the father may become very strict with him, may punish him, may take away his privileges, so everybody was suffering now. But if the child obeyed the father's will, then family affairs will run smoothly, because there is one interest, and ideally the interest should be to please the father. So that should be the child's business. Same arrangement is made in the spiritual world. Prabhupada is saying that he is the Supreme Spirit, we are the minute being, and we have to cater to his will. And when we do that, we automatically become happy. We automatically become free from illusion and anxiety, from fears. Otherwise, we are on our own. We are suffering under these rules and regulations of this material world. Whereas we could have been enjoying with our Supreme Father, who has so much to offer, so much love, so much, anything in unlimitedly he can offer us that this world cannot. In this world, there is so much effort for everything. You have to make so much effort for everything. Like we were discussing last night, there is so much effort to arrange anything. Even for a ride, you go in amusement park, you have to stand in line in heat for like 30 minutes, and then you get to ride for like 5 minutes. So in this world, and then the happiness of that ride is very temporary, very quick. It's over very soon, but you have to suffer so much. You have to stand in the line, you have to pay the money, then you have to work to make that money to pay for the ride. So everything you have to pay for. Whereas your father, Supreme Father, is giving you everything for free if you will just come back to him. And that happiness is not it will not end like this one does. It's not just for a few minutes. It's pratipadam purnamrita swadanam. It keeps increasing. It's anandam buddhi vardhanam. It's an ocean of bliss. It keeps increasing, ever increasing, eternally increasing ocean of bliss that he's giving us, he's offering us. So then it'll be foolish to stay stuck in this material world where the happiness is so shallow, so temporary, takes so much effort to get it, and it's over very quickly, and then still brings you misery, so much side effects to the material happiness. Spiritual happiness has no side effects and actually eternal benefit. So those things. Then the last paragraph is saying that the Par Brahman is as much a person as the individual entity. So we should not misuse this word ekatvam, because some impersonalists can do that. People that like to merge, that want mukti, can have this understanding that Par Brahman is somebody you merge into. But no, Prabhupada is saying it's a person. Ekatvam does not mean that you're merging into the Parabrahman. Ekatvam means that you have the same goal, same interest. You want to please him, you want to serve him, and you all should be united in that goal. And a pure devotee, Uttam Bhagavad, has that vision that everybody needs to be united in the service of the Lord. So he uses everybody in service of the Lord. So you can imagine it like this. Again, coming back to the example of our household, there is one responsible child, okay, and all the other children are irresponsible. They're naughty. They don't listen to their parents. So what does the older child or the responsible child does? He will gather all the irresponsible kids and give them services, somehow helping the father, the parents, because he knows parents will be unhappy. So he knows that they are also my siblings. They're also coming from my parents, but they don't have the knowledge. They don't have the understanding that they should be serving. They're irresponsible. They're naughty. So what would the older child do? Responsible child do? He will put them all in service of the Lord. Tum ye karo, tum wo karo. Somehow he will put them all so that they all are pleasing the father, the supreme, or the parents in the household. Like that, a pure devotee also sees everyone. So you can always see the understanding of our household to understand the spiritual family, that a pure devotee is like that responsible kid who has this vision that we are all siblings, we are all coming from the same father, we are children of the same supreme father, but right now we have become naughty, we are not listening to him, we are doing our own whimsical things, and our will is not aligned with his will, his desires. We have our own free, independent desires. And like I was saying before, to the degree we are independent, to that degree we are neophyte. To the degree we depend on the other senior devotees because they are more responsible, you can say more responsible kid or guru or sadhu or shastra, to that degree we have become advanced. So that's why, if you remember last time, I posed some questions in the group that are you, let me see, what did I say? That do you want association or practice solo? If you're practicing solo, which means you rely on your own efforts, you're independent, it does not work in devotional service. Devotional service is a path of dependence. And we have to depend on these Uttam Bhagavatas who have the vision in order to advance. If we are independently practicing, that is not devotional service. So devotional service always means dependence. So we have to give up this independent nature. Independence is only possible for Krishna. He's Swarat. We have to become dependent on the person who is superior, supreme to us. Do you respect devotees? So a neophyte will not respect devotees. So everybody should evaluate within themselves. Do we respect devotees? Do we want association, or we would like to practice solo? Do you want to be independent or dependent? These are the questions I had posed last time. If you like to be independent, then we are neophytes. If we like to be dependent on the mercy of the other devotees, on the Guru, Sadhu Shastra, then we are, to that degree, we are advanced. Do you sprout many arms to serve the Lord and his devotees, or for mundane activities? So the more materially absorbed we are and we have more material चीजों करने के लिए तो बहुत निकल पड़ते हैं हम, हाथ कॉलर चढ़ा के और स्लीव्स फोल्ड करके निकल पड़ते हैं. But for spiritual activities, we are not able to. So are we able to sprout many arms to serve the Lord and his devotees? Or do we have more tendency for mundane activities? उसमें तो निकल जाएंगे, कोई पार्टी हो रही है तो ठीक है, कोई प्रोग्राम हो रहा है तो we won't engage that much. Do you have understanding of the 4 types of people? Guru, devotee, simple, and envious. Do we know what etiquettes we should have with these 4 people? With these 4 people, our externals need to be different. We need to engage differently with these 4 type of people. Okay, so externally, our etiquettes, our maryada, our conduct, and Mahaprabhu gave this to Sanatan Goswami. So he has established proper conduct with these 4 types of people. How should you behave with Guru and Bhagwan? How should you behave with the devotees that are same level or advanced level? How should you behave with the innocent people, simple people, which are favorable? And how should you behave with the atheistic people or unfavorable, complex, arrogant, independent people? How should you behave with those people? So for each, there should be a maryada. And to overcross, to cross your boundaries is called Maryada Vyatikrama in Srimad Bhagavatam. Maryada Vyatikrama. Maryada ko todna. So we should be very careful that how we, deal with these different people will help to advance their spiritual journey actually. Then are you made of mercy or your own efforts? To the degree you think you are made of your own efforts, to that degree we are neophyte. To the degree we think we are made of mercy, of devotees, then that to that degree we are advanced. So these are some of the questions I had posed last time. I think we'll wrap up within the next few minutes. So this is the transcendental vision, ekatvam anupashyata. And how do you develop this? By shastra chakshu, by prem chakshu, by daya chakshu, not charm chakshu. So whoever thinks that they can see Lord with charm chakshu, that's not going to happen. We have to train ourselves through the visions of shastra. And then the pure devotee knows whole world is full of Krishna's children. They're just occupying different bodies. And he develops sensitivity. He's respectful towards them. He has tolerance, patience, and forgiveness towards different living entities. And he develops the qualities very similar to Krishna, which are pleasing. So this is the qualities of a Mahabhagavad devotee. He has perfect dealings externally and internally. Again, they do the greatest service. The pure devotee is able to, such a devotee who has this vision will be able to do the greatest service. That's why we took the story of Vigari. Narad Muni had this vision that even he can be engaged in service of the Lord. So he gave Harinam to give Harinam to all living entities. And as we learned, Mrigari was simple. Mrigari was innocent actually. He just did not know. He did not have knowledge. As soon as he came in contact of knowledge through Narad Muni, he was immediately transformed. So you can give Harinam to all living entities. Service to all living entities on spiritual platform. And Nirbhay Prabhu had brought up this very nice point that these Uttam devotees have to come to the platform of Madhyam Bhagavad to preach. You have to come to the level of second class devotee. From the top class devotee, you have to come to second class to preach. Because Uttam Bhagavad devotee will see everyone as same, and he has so much humility that he does not think he's qualified to preach. But he has to come to the level of Madhyam Adhikari to be able to preach and to make this distinction. Okay. So you see that Prabhupada gave different services to different people based on their inclinations. If he came across some atheistic people or he will engage them in a different way. Give them prasad or just ask them to give charity if they have money, like that, he would engage them. So this is the vision of a spiritually advanced devotees. What is their vision? They know what to avoid, where is the danger, and what to accept. Kanishta Adhikaris of the lowest grade, he goes to the temple, but he follows a routine, he follows a very strict disciplinary practice, but he can quarrel, he will have materialistic association. Uttam Adhikari will see everything in relation to the Lord. He will not discriminate, but in order to preach, he will come to the level of Madhyam Adhikari. Okay. These are some of the Uttam Adhikaris. These are the 12 Mahajans of Krishna. I hope some of you remember the names of all these 12 Mahajans. But these 12 Mahajans are, we should memorize them if we don't. Who are the 12 Mahajans? And this story we covered last week. Narad Muni giving mercy to Rigari, the killer of animals. And this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityanand Prabhu giving mercy to Jagai and Madhai, even though they were most fallen people. This is Prabhupada giving mercy to hippies. And in this way, a pure devotee can, build a home in which the whole world can live. And Prabhupada is the best example. He built a house, a home in which the whole world can live. So this is the vision of a Uttamadhikari, of a topmost Bhagavatottama, like Prabhupada. Okay, anybody has any doubts, questions, realizations? Anyone wants to share anything? Who knows this classification of Kanishta Madhyam Uttamadhikari now? Who can tell me very quickly the differences between these three?
Kanist is like he will go to the temple, but he is more inclined in the materialistic life. Madhyam Adhikari is dependent on the Uttam Adhikari. He knows the scriptures, he follows the rituals, and
Nahi, madhya.
he
Rituals is not
yeah,
important. The
not the
main.
rituals like the scriptures.
Hmm.
Follows the guru, and he tries to preach, tries to involve people, but Uttam Adhikari, he sees everything and everybody in relation to Krishna, to God. And I think both Madhyam and Uttam Adhikari can preach to people based on where the people are standing in qualities. Like if it's simple, then it will show mercy. If it's atheist, then it will avoid, but they'll just try to give them prasadam and all that stuff. So, and
Yes.
Uttam uses everybody, everything and everybody in service of God.
Yes, Hari Bol. Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, Uttam Adhikari, ye point बहुत important है. Uttam Adhikari has to come to the platform of Madhyam Adhikari to preach. Otherwise, he does not feel himself qualified to preach. So we see all these topmost devotees of the Lord, like disciples of Prabhupada, that are wonderful, wonderful devotees. But when they preach, they are speaking from the level of a Madhyam Adhikari. But internally, they are Uttam Adhikari. Internally means internally they don't have any distinction. Internally, they don't feel qualified to preach. They don't feel qualified to spread this movement, but they still do it because it's an order of Prabhupada or order of the Mahaprabhu. But externally, they do this by coming to the level of Madhyam Adhikari. Madhyam Adhikaris are the ones that will preach. Madhyam Adhikaris are convinced and well situated in their faith. Their knowledge is not as good as Uttam Adhikari. And Kanishta Adhikari is the lowest. His knowledge is very weak, faith is very weak. He only respects Bhagwan but not devotees. And he tends to be very independent. He tends to rely on his own efforts. Okay, so I think we can stop here. Anybody else wants to share? तो इसको 4 तरीके से बोलते हैं. मध्यम अधिकारी के 4 विजन होते हैं. प्रेम, मित्रता, दया एंड indifference या disregard towards atheist. प्रेम भगवान के लिए और गुरु के लिए, मित्रता devotees के लिए, friendship devotees के लिए, mercy, दया, सेवा ये किसके लिए? Innocent, simple people के लिए, और indifference and avoid the atheistic, difficult people. Okay, all right, so we'll stop. Anybody else? Nirbhay Prabhu or let's see, Ravi Prabhu, Amrendra Prabhu, Neelveni Mataji, anybody else wants to share anything? Now, Prabhupada was able to spread this movement because he was Uttam Bhagwat, right? He did not look at their religion, their language, their dresses, their food. He just gave Harinam to everyone, just like Mahaprabhu. Okay, so yes.
Another question just came to my mind. That so in Sri Upanishad, all the shlokas have been telling us kind of how we should approach things, how we read about Ishavasyam and all the other principles from there on. For this one, when it's telling us the difference between the different levels of adhikaris, is it so? What is the take-home point on this shloka from that standpoint? That from like the levels, it's understandable, but that is just for our understanding, right? So what is, does it make sense, the question?
Yes. So I think you keep getting confused between what Sri Isopanishad is saying and what Prabhupada is saying in the purports. Sri Isopanishad is only giving us the characteristics of the Mahabhagavad devotee, right? So look at this. So Isopanishad is giving us the characteristics of the Bhagwan, that he is complete, whole, and perfect. Everything that belongs in this world is the property of the Lord. People, now he comes to people, that people that understand this concept have should live. They deserve to live. Everybody else is a killer of the soul. Who's not hankering for self-realization is a killer of the soul. Then he gives these inconceivable qualities of the Lord, that Lord is fixed, but still walks. He can run faster than the mind. He can, all the demigods surrender to him. All these type of inconceivable aspects of the Lord that we read. And then he says, so those people who observe, who have this vision, who can understand the quality of the oneness in quality with the Lord and see everybody in relationship with the Lord, they are the because he keeps fluctuating between the people and the Lord. Which people are the best type of living entities? Those are the best type of living entities who see all living entities in relationship with the Lord, who understand that they are coming from the Lord, they are maintained by the Lord, they are then that person will have no fear, no anxieties, no envy or hatred in this world, who understands this aspect. So he's giving us relationship with the Lord and qualities of the Lord, and how one should try to become. One should try to become this type of person. We should become someone who has this vision of seeing everyone in relationship with the Lord. Then we won't hate anyone. He says in mantra 6, then we won't hate anyone. Vijugupsate, not hate anyone. And ourselves also, we won't have any illusion or anxiety, because we have this vision of seeing everyone in relationship with the Lord. So it's sort of giving the qualities of the Lord and the people that live in this world, how they need to live. They need to understand that everything is property of the Lord. They need to understand that He is the complete whole. We are just parts and parcels. People who understand this concept need to live, deserve to live, because they can do the best good. Other people are Atmaha, killer of the soul. And our vision should be that everybody is coming from the Lord. Then you will be able to live in this world without any fear, anxiety, limitations, and hatred or dvesh or envy. This is the flow of Isopanishad.
Yes, thank you. That explains.
And then further it goes on to talk a little bit more about the Uttam Bhagavad in the next verse also, mantra 8 also. Okay, we'll stop here. We've exceeded the time. Thank you everyone for joining. Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namah. Shri Isopanishad ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Guru and Guranga. Hare Krishna.